everybody. Thank you so very much for being here on this Thursday. Well, I can't believe that we're already in the beginning of May. Completely crazy. I would love to actually know, where is everybody from? I would love to know which parts of the world people are from. This would be kind of cool. So why don't you share it in the chat so we get a little bit of, there you go, San Francisco. Where else? Or is Michael the only one here today? Hello. Oh, there we go. Charlotte, Boston. Awesome. Do we have any international people? Midwest USA. Where is that? Where would Midwest be? Midwest is really big. What is SLCUT? I don't know those abbreviations.
Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City, Utah.
Oh, okay. That must be a Salt Lake City, Utah thing. 3 a.m. in Shanghai. Oh, wow, JD, you are committed. I respect that. I need my sleep. I cannot do anything in the middle of the night. Colorado. I love Colorado. I lived in Colorado. I lived in Summit County for a little bit. So awesome. We've got people from all over the place. That's amazing. That's the beauty of day trading, right? We can pretty much do it from anywhere. Well, today I want to get into the presentation. I'm going to give you a little bit of information first about who I am and just digging in from Roswell. Isn't that where they have like all those alien like tourism things? Not sure if it's like a real deal or not, or but I'm pretty sure that's where it is, right? I know that sounds a little bit ignorant of me, but I think there was a movie about it. Okay, so I am Marina, the trader chick, and this is one of my little people, one of my sons. And what I want to talk to you guys about today, because we want to focus about the psychology, the mindset of day trading, right? And let's get real, one thing straight. Day trading is 85 to 90% mental. There's no other way to go around it, right? A lot of people could sit in front of their charts for days on end, months on end. I was one of those people for years on end. But once you really start to focus on the mental part of it, and it's literally little shifts that could completely take your day trading to new levels. So today I want to talk about getting over yourselves and having fun day trading with these 4 basic strategies, because it's literally about getting over yourself. We are way too serious, way too in our heads. So that's what I really want to focus on, as well as teaching the 4 strategies, because when we have foundation like that we could hold on to, it allows us to not get so emotional and into our heads for anything, pretty much, right? It's not about just trading, but trading is probably one of the most emotional, chaotic activities that we'll ever participate in. That's what I pretty much have learned over 9 years of doing this. So I have a question for you guys. Are you ready? Who here has fun in trading? And you can be totally honest with me here. Who here actually has fun, like fun, while you guys are trading? So you need to be honest. If you don't want to respond here, that's fine, but be honest to yourselves. Do you have fun, or are you sitting there biting your fingernails, stressing out, sweating, getting ulcers? Because let's face it, we've all been there as well, right? So here's another question for you, right? Let me ask you this now. How many of you guys drive a car or have been in a car? I know it sounds kind of silly, right? But just go with me on this one. How many of you guys have ever been in a car or driven in one? Right? I'm pretty sure the majority of us at one point or another, right? So here's a shocking fact. Did you know that worldwide, there are at least a gazillion car accidents each year? So if you don't know what gazillion is, it's my word for an exaggeration, but it's a lot, right? This is a shocking fact. This is a known fact. This is not something that I'm just like pulling from midair. The majority of car accidents is pretty high, right? Unfortunately, this is a reality. It's something that we have to deal with every time we get on the road. Yet every single day we get into our cars and we put on our tunes, we put on our music while driving, with either on our own or with our kids, and we have fun driving, right? Well, unfortunately, we also start to text and answer our phones. And I know that you do it because I've seen you do it. And unfortunately, I have done it. And we all get distracted in cars. And by the way, there are even more car accidents with motorcycles. And where I live, I could drive with my kids and a dog, and it's okay. Not that I recommend it and not that I do it often. I barely ever do it, but we do. And even though we know that there's all these accidents, right? So the reality of all of this, guys, is let me ask you this. How many of you guys have actually lost money in the market? Yes, it's definitely fun when we're winning, but how many of us actually have a lost money in the market? I mean, I've lost a lot. It's the reality, right? And yes, it's fun when you're winning, but you gotta really understand what's happening to have fun no matter what and trust. And I have lost a ton of money. Unfortunately, it's just how it is, right? Unfortunately, we've all been there and all of that. But look at this is something I want to show you. Look at me. I'm still here. I get to hug my kids every day. I get to go out with my husband. We get to travel, even though in this pandemic, we're not traveling as much as we like to, but we still are doing it, right? The reality is that I'm still here. So why is it that when we get into a car where the chances of real life injury or even a fatality are real, and yet we still have tons of fun? Yet when we trade, the worst case possible can happen is that we lose money. But we treat it as if though it's so much more deadly serious, and we end up losing a lot of the fun of it, right? Yes, we have fun winning, but let's get the reality of it. When we're sitting in that trade and that trade could go anywhere, we're not having that much fun, right? We are really like deadly serious, and we probably are treating it with more seriousness than the actual driving, right? So we take away all this fun. So don't get me wrong though, right? You cannot get into a car and just wing it. You have to know how to drive, right? You have to understand the basics of driving. Where is the steering wheel? Where is the clutch? Where is the gear shift? Where are the brakes? Where is the accelerator? Because if you get into a car and you don't know where any of these are, and let's go back to the beginning of when you first sat into a car. I'm in that position right now with my son, learning how to drive a car. And he really has no idea, right? For him, it's a whole new world. But with time, he's starting to adjust. So if you don't have the basics of driving, that automation that you've created when driving, you know exactly what to do, your arms go where they have to, you can't just wing it, right? So the stress of it becomes less and less as long as you are getting automated and really adjusted to driving. It's the same thing trading as it is with driving a car. However, with a lot less crazy risk that is involved, right? So here's the thing. You have to know the basics of trading, or you will also end up crashing. And just getting the basics, getting that foundation, really understanding, and even kind of going on automation with some things. And I don't mean automated software. I mean you understanding things that are now becoming completely natural to you. That makes it simpler, right? It makes it basic, but you have this foundation, you have a confidence, right? And confidence is all part of that mental state that we get into, right? So after years of learning other people's strategies and following their trade setups without having any idea why I was even taking trades, or in other words, never truly learning how to actually drive my own car or read my own charts, you know what happened to me? I ended up losing big time. So what am I saying here? This is the reality of traders. We are beginning traders. We end up paying for all these different like chat rooms, alerts, and all this stuff, but we actually don't really understand the reason behind the trades we take, right? We don't have any idea why we are doing what we are doing. We're just following along somebody else's strategy who apparently we trust, but we don't really know why. So basically what's happening is we've got, like when you're learning to drive a car and you hire a teacher, you go to like one of those schools, they have these cars that the teacher has control of when to brake and press on the accelerator. So sometimes that really affects how you learn how to drive, right? Because you don't fully know when to press, like sometimes they're doing the work for you. And when they get out, and you have to take your exam. You could fail because you never actually learned how to do that, right? So that's what happens in these trade rooms and alerts, is because we kind of just listen in and follow. And that happened to me. It happened to me many times. And because of that, what happened not only was I following all these setups that I didn't understand the reason for it. Sometimes I would hear them say about the setups, and everybody in the room would be like, oh, yeah. And next thing I know is I am chasing a trade, because even though I don't really understand the reason, chasing that trade, getting in too late, realizing that it's not going the right way, my ego, sets in, doesn't allow me to put in an actual stop, telling myself that it's going to turn. And next thing I know, I lost my account. And this happened to me several times. I literally lost big time. And one of the last times was I lost almost $4,000 in 5 minutes chasing trades, right? When I saw it going the wrong way, I just would not permit myself to admit it. And I ended up literally blowing my account within 5 minutes. And this happened to me for the third time in 2 months. This is now over 6 years ago. This is when I began. I was struggling for years. And did I stop after that? No. I revenge traded for another 2 days, and I added almost another $2,000 of losses. And that is when, in car terminology, I literally totaled my car 2 more times. And that's when I had a complete and total breakdown, for real. Okay, so I had a complete breakdown. I remember it was April. It was over 6 years ago. After losing the money all the time, I was literally on the ground, laying flat face, just completely defeated. My husband came into the room, standing over me. He's like, why are you torturing yourself? Why are you losing all our family's money? And I was just defeated. I had a total breakdown. And unfortunately, what happens when you have a breakdown, you come up with 2 decisions. You either quit, get out, never trade again, or never do that thing, or you have a breakthrough. I had to have a complete getaway. Like, I had to walk away, even though I did not want to, because I was just in such a bad state of mind. However, I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen this movie, Nacho Libre. It's one of our family's favorite movies. If you haven't, it's a really cute movie. Anyways, so Nacho is this guy who wants to be a luchador in Mexico. And that's like, what are those, like wrestlers? And there's this one scene in the movie when he's standing in church praying and saying to God, why did you make me such a lousy warrior, but give me such a passion to be a wrestler? And, and that's literally what I felt like. At that moment, I was standing there screaming out loud. I was not thinking this in my head. I was actually screaming. I'm like, why do I have this desire, this passion for day trading, and I'm so bad at it? And the deep down feeling inside is, and Nacho had the same thing, you can watch the movie, is that deep down inside, you can do it. You can do it. There is something real that you can do it. If others are doing it, I could do it too. And that's when I had my breakthrough. So after walking away for about 4 or 5 months completely, I was forbidden to actually touch the charts because I was in such a bad state emotionally. But I just knew I had to come back because I knew I could do it. So after that break, I came back to the charts. But this time, what I decided to do was go back to the basics, right? One thing I realized through all my different courses, academies, I spent over $20,000 on live chat rooms, mentorships, conferences, you name it, was that nobody actually spoke about the basics, right? It's like, you can't get into a car and just start zooming if you don't even know how to shift from first gear into second gear, right? You'll be stuck in first, you'll blow up your engine. So, and that's a basic to even understand the shifting process. And nobody talks about that. Whenever I used to talk about, can you please explain more about sideways trends, about divergences, reversal patterns, I was always dismissed as if though I was born with this information. And it was literally like a music student that wants to learn to play the flute, and they arrive to the academy on the first day, they don't know anything, and instead of being taken from step 1 to learning, they're literally thrown into like the symphonic pit, like with a symphony, and told to keep up with everybody. And I don't know about you guys, but I know that this is a pretty common way of learning day trading, or of being thrown into that pit, and many people drown. And they think that day trading is risky or this, and because they're paying, $3,000 to $5,000 for academies, they believe that they should know this stuff. And the reality is we don't. And that's where I realized that I didn't know the basics. And that's when I started to study them. And I've been studying them for years because that completely changed my life. Just like learning a new language, I literally became fluent in the market language by reading it and listening to it and understanding what the market was talking to me about. So before we hop into the bulk and the meat part of the presentation, I just want to do a quick intro. I am Marina, the Trader Chick. I am an expat. I live in Antigua, Guatemala. So when I was asking where you guys are from, I was really curious. The majority were from the States. I actually live in Antigua, Guatemala. And I am trilingual. And the reason why I bring this up is, like I mentioned in the slide previously, that I recognize that the market has its own language. And I think I was able to recognize that because I am trilingual. So I was born in the Soviet Union and we were actually refugees to the United States. So Russian is my mother tongue. However, because I was raised in the US, English is my main language. But I've been living in Central America. We lived in Costa Rica before for almost 20 years. I ended up learning Spanish in my later years. I was in my late 20s. And when you learn a new language, when you're tiny, it's not really learning a language. You just kind of go with it. But when you learn it in your later years, I don't know if any of you here speak another language or learned one in later years, it's a really difficult process, right? You first have to translate every single word in your head, then get it out to the person in front of you, get them to respond. Hopefully the person's super patient, respond. You have to bring it back in your head, translate. It's this long process and it's an arduous process. However, if you're committed enough, what happens is one day you'll wake up and you just speak the language. And that's what happened to me. I just ended up speaking Spanish. There was no more translation. There was no more process going on. And that was the coolest thing of all. So what I recognize is with the market, it literally has a language. And after I started studying the basics and understanding price action, it started to speak to me. And that's when I realized that if we don't understand what it says, it's not possible for us to truly be able to take advantage of it or to understand it and work with it. We never want to beat the market or predict with the market, right? We want to work with it. And that's understanding it and listening to it. So before I was a day trader, I just want to throw this out, is I was a fitness instructor and a travel writer. And why is this important? Because so many people believe that they have to come from a financial or economic background or have a really strong take on math. No, you don't have to have any of those. That's the beauty of day trading, right? Is that you can literally come from any path in your life. And that's what is the beauty of it. I was one of the very first fitness instructors in Manhattan to ever teach spinning and Pilates. I don't know if any of you guys go to the gyms. So that was what I did for years. And then when we moved to Costa Rica, I became a travel writer. I actually still have my travel site because travel for me and my family is super important. And the reason why day trading works so well with my travel lifestyles because I can literally do it from anywhere. I trade with just one chart from anywhere in the world. And that's the beauty of day trading. And we could do it from anywhere, anytime, right? So what are the basics of day trading? What can we do to have as much fun in day trading as we do when we're off on an adventure or in a road trip in our cars? We can start by learning the 4 basic strategies, which is learning how to understand what the market is telling us. Just like in a car, we know where the brakes are, the steering wheel, the rear view mirror. We could do the same for our trading. We could have that automation in our trading by learning and understanding what it is telling us. So before I jump in all the way, I have a presentation for you guys. I have a document that you could follow along with this presentation. And as David said, he is recording each of these as well. So you'll get a replay completely for free so that you guys really get the most out of my presentation. Please go to makingofaDaytrader.com. You can get it there, sign up completely free, makingofaDaytrader.com. I will send you the whole presentation worksheet that you could follow along. You do it right now. And also when you get the replay, you can follow along at your own pace. MakingofaDaytrader.com. You could go and get it right here, makingofaDaytrader.com. So as I mentioned before, I trade from one chart. I go with my laptop. All I need is internet. To be a day trader, you need to have a good, strong platform. You need to have the platform. You cannot become a Formula One driver in a minivan. You need to have the proper vehicle, right? It's the same for day trading. If you're just going to be messing around as a hobbyist, you don't really need a platform. But for being a day trader, you do. There are many amazing platforms. I'm not affiliated with any, so I'm not here to tell you anything, but I do really want to push the fact that you need a strong platform where you could get free indicators from and really strong feed. And on top of that, you need to be able to use your broker from that interface. Okay. The majority of platforms these days work, but if you don't have a platform, you really need to stop and get one if you want to be a professional day trader. Okay. It's just how it goes. So this is what my charts look like. I use two indicators. I use the EMAs and I use the MACDs. I have found, excuse me, that the MACDs are the least lagging indicator out there. And what that means is that it shows me the weakness or the strength in the market before it's actually happening, so that I don't find about it after the fact. I recognize that it's happening a little bit before the fact, and that really helps me. And I use EMA lines to take my trades from. Okay, so as I said, my MACDs for me are literally the most important. They're the most important indicator working with my price action and my EMAs, because it shows me where there's strength. It shows me so much. Again, this is just my own personal, what I use, and pretty much any software, any platform software you use, these are universal indicators that you could find. So let's hop into market movement and the breakdown of a trend. All right, so we all know that there is an upward trend. We all know there is a downward trend. And we logistically understand that there is a sideways trend. However, the thing with a sideways trend is, and I like to call it the trader's worst enemy, is because 90% of our winnings or even more gets lost in the sideways trend. Why? Because this is that consolidation area. It's that exhaustion pattern. It's that indecision area. It's the chop. It's the channeling market. I don't care what you call it, because people get so caught up on the names. The reality is, it's an indecision area where you don't want to be caught up in, right? You don't want to be in an area where you don't really know what is going to be happening. It could continue there. It could go up. It could go down. It could do many things, right? So this is what a sideways trend looks like. And it can totally change direction. So you cannot be looking at it and being like, well, it's going to continue on, because you don't know. The market is going to do what the market is going to do. What we as traders have to do is understand and read it. So let's get back to the super basics. What is an upward trend? It's literally where each pivot is higher than the next, right? Upward trend, you could call it a bull market, you could call market trending up, market going up, whatever you want to call it. This is when we look for the buying or the going long opportunities. What does that mean? That means we enter at a lower price point, exit at a higher price point, right? We're looking for those long positions. Okay, we're entering a buy. We are buying. What is a downward trend? It's when each pivot is lower than the other pivot, right? It's when we are looking for the shorts. We are selling. What does that mean? It means, excuse me, when we are entering at a high price point, exiting at a low price point, and we take the profit in between. And if you're sitting here thinking to yourself, well, I never short. Well, unfortunately, you're probably missing out more than 70% of the opportunities, because day traders make as much, if not more money, shorting the market than they do longing the market, because it's all about technical analysis. It has nothing to do with what is going on, because we're intraday day traders, right? So you don't want to miss out on these beautiful shorting opportunities, okay? So we're going to be talking about technical analysis here, so make sure that you are really focused on that. Another word for downward trend, bear market, market trending down, market going down. Now, I personally am a scalper, so I don't know if you guys have ever heard of scalping, but it's to go in for much quicker targets, right? I go for smaller targets and they're really quick. Lately, to be honest with you, with the beautiful volatility, my trades have been lasting between 30 seconds to a minute. It's been fantastic. So because I am such a short-term trader, I also can monetize on trends within the bigger trend. So you could have the overall trend, but then you could have a deeper retracement, which is like a mini trend before it ends and continues in the opposite direction to monetize on. So that's usually overall momentum and the immediate momentum. So if you're going for the smaller profits, you don't want to lose out on those big, opportunities, and they can be really great opportunities. So let's break it down. Consolidation areas and transition areas. A trader's worst enemy. Just like I said it before, they are literally the trader's worst enemy. And learning how to spot them and avoid them is going to save you guys so much money. So what is a consolidation market? Consolidating market. It is the channel, it's the sideways market, it's the chop, it's grindy behavior. I mean, there's a million words for it. It's all the same. It's where there is no real confirmation of what is going on. The reality, though, back to the mental mental state of what's happening with traders and why we end up going into these areas and losing a lot of money. Here's the breakdown of it. We come up, excuse me, we come up with a ton of stories. Humans in real life, this is what we do. We tell ourselves stories, and a lot of them are totally BS stories. And in day trading, we tell ourselves these stories even more so. So I'm going to give an example of a story, right? Let's say you just met somebody that you want to get to know and you really like them, but you're kind of just forming a new relationship with them, a new friendship, whatever you want to call it. And they said, hey, I'm going to have a party in 2 days. I would love for you to come. And you get all excited and they're like, okay, I'll call you tomorrow to give you all the information. So tomorrow comes and goes and there's no phone call. So what starts to happen in our heads? We start to doubt ourselves. Oh, did I say something wrong? Maybe they don't like me. Maybe they talk to somebody else and that other one of their good friends doesn't like me. I mean, you come up with all these ridiculous stories, right? Totally putting yourself in a really crap place. 2 days, a day and a half later, this person calls you up. They're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. My phone fell in the toilet. I lost all my contacts. It was horrible. Basically, the story you came up with that made yourself feel like total crap was just a blank story, right? It was useless. It was pointless. It did nobody any good because the reality was anything, right? But we don't ever think of the positive stuff like, oh, maybe they lost their phone. No, you always think of the negative stuff. So traders, we do this even more so. And especially when we see sideways markets, these are the stories we tell ourselves. And I can guarantee you, everybody in this room has told themselves this story at one point or another. So there are only two types of traders. At the end of the day, there are only two types of traders and actually investors as well. But we're going to focus on trading. The one type of trader is the trend is your friend kind of a trader. So if you're going to look at this scenario, the trend is your friend kind of trader, you're going to be like, you know what, the market's been trending up all day. And you see this consolidation area, I'm going long because it's going to continue going long. Or the other type of trader, and this used to be me, and I am still like that, but I don't tell myself these stories anymore, is the contrarian trader. What is the contrarian trader? Whenever we see this type of a market, the market's been going up all day. You know what? It's got to correct. It's got to correct. I'm shorting the market, right? So we go in for a short because we believe that this is it. It's got to correct. Here's the reality, guys. Neither of those stories are true. They are literally just stories. They're not real. What's real is the market is consolidating. That's it. So what do we do during the consolidation? We sit out. There are three positions. One is knowing when to get in. Two is knowing when to get out. And three is knowing when to stay out. And I know many people think, oh, but when I stay out, it's me not doing anything. I have to be doing something. Totally another story. I don't know if any of you guys have ever watched the show The Crown on Netflix. If not, it's a really good show, but that's not the point. In the beginning of the very first series, the Queen Elizabeth becomes queen, and the Queen Mother, and she has to make all these decisions or be part of decision making. And her Queen Mother says to her, the most important decisions and the hardest decisions you're going to be doing are the ones that you are inactive. Meaning the most amount of energy you're going to put in is being inactive and not taking an actual position. That is exactly what is useful for trading. That inaction of knowing when to sit out and sitting on your hands is a lot more energy, I believe, than getting in and out of trades, right? Because it's easy to be a trigger happy trader, which I think the majority of us have gone through at one point or another. So sitting out is crucial, and that's how you're going to save yourself a lot of money. Okay, so hopefully I can really zone in on how important it is to sit out, recognizing these consolidating areas. Yes, we could probably take one trade in the beginning of a consolidation area of the sideways market and lose, but it's knowing afterwards to stay out instead of letting our emotional mind take in for the revenge trading, which is way too easy for that to happen, right? So these consolidations can happen many different ways because I told you I'm personally a scalper. So this move would have totally stopped me out because I only go for about 1 point, which is about 1 box on this grid, right? So recognizing when these happen and staying out is key. It is the key to success. Now, how do we recognize them? How do we mark them? How do we know when they're actually happening? And that is areas. The market respects areas, and we as the individual retail trader, we also have to respect these areas. And what are these areas? They're support and resistance. I actually talk about support and resistance areas similarly to Formula One drivers. They know that 25% for them are going to either get into a massive crash or unfortunately even a fatality. They know their probabilities. They know. So when they hop into their cars, do you really think they're going to go without any safety gear? Having the fact that 25% chance of them being in that car that time could lead to an accident or something worse. For sure not. They're going to have their helmets on. They're going to have their fireproof uniform on, and at least their seatbelts along with many others, right? So why do day traders, where the probabilities are even higher for us to lose, especially when we don't know what's going on, just throw money at the market without having these safety gears in place? So for me, resistance and support areas are these safety measures, because when you mark off your areas, you know not to enter them. You know when they're broken. You understand what's going on, right? You're not just winging it. You're not just pretending to do things. You're actually you're really putting on that physical security and protecting yourselves. And it's really about that, right? It's about understanding what's going on in the market and knowing when to stay in, knowing when to get in, and knowing when to not do a thing, right? So what is a resistance area? A resistance area is literally the ceiling of the market. It's literally the ceiling of the market. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that the market has hit this area 3 or 4 or more times. Okay, and it could continue on. So what is a resistance area? It is the ceiling of the market, and it can be revisited several times, and you want to be prepared and know when it happens. Okay, so it's really important to have that drawn in. What's a support area? It is literally the floor of the market. It is where the market has hit it 3 or 4 or more times, and it can continue on and on. So you have to have that drawn in and be prepared and know exactly when it's happening. This is a support area. Okay, you have to know when these are happening. So what is a channel? It is between a resistance and a support area. When it bounces in between, it's again, consolidation, indecision, the chop, exhaustion, whatever you call it, right? It's that uncertainty area. Okay, look at this. When you look at it for real, does any of it look even compelling enough for you to want to enter this market? No, it's so ugly. It's so choppy. It's so grindy, right? It's totally all over the place. It's even erratic. It's nothing that you want to be a part of, right? But you have to understand and recognize it. And that happens through resistance support areas. Now, how do we start to spot when these areas are actually happening? And that is done with reversal areas and divergences. And this to me this is my golden ticket. I call this the trader's map to shift in direction and a trend. So what are reversal areas? They're double tops, triple tops, head and shoulders, double bottoms, triple bottoms. These are beautiful. They're completely free. They are on every single chart. They're on every single instrument that you guys trade, because it's all about reading the price action. So what is a reversal pattern? Here's a beautiful triple top, right? Or even a double top is already telling you something's happening. And a head and shoulders is also something, right? What is divergence? So I love the MACDs. A way I use them is a lot with my divergences of the pivots. So for instance, here, if my chart is going up, if my pivots are higher than each other, but yet my pivots are lower than one another in the MACDs, that's starting to show me that there is a weakness, a loss in strength in the market. Do you guys want to enter a market when it's already dying down? No, you never know where it's going to go. You want to be in the most strong part of the market to enter, because that's what's going to give you that much more confirmation. So that's how I use them. But when I have a reversal pattern coupled with divergence, that to me is just screaming, stay out, do not touch. It's like a huge red light that I'm sitting in my car waiting for it to turn green. And at the moment, all I'm seeing is reversal patterns and divergences, and I'm not moving. I'm not going anywhere. So I want to put this all together for you guys. Remember, everything that I just went over, this entire presentation and more, I have here for you for free, makingofadaytrader.com. So get your cheat sheet here, the whole worksheet, makingofadaytrader.com. All right, now let's put it all together. Look, we all know and we've all heard about the breakout trades, right? These are the most popular trades. They're the most impactful trades. They're also the highest probability trades. However, if you do not have your areas drawn in, you will completely miss this particular trade, right? So how do we find these breakout trades? So again, here's a resistance area. We're headed in one direction, resistance area, boom, breakout. So I'm going to break this down for you even more in total layman's terms. Okay. What is a breakout trade? So here we go. Imagine you have your sister or brother, somebody super close to you, somebody's house that you've been to a million times calls you up and they're like, hey, come over, let's have a barbecue. You hop in your car and you live south of them and they live north of you. You hop in your car, you get in the car, you're totally confident with the road. You've been on this road a million times. You hop on the highway and you're just jamming and going up north to your sibling's house. But all of a sudden, there's a huge construction site and a huge detour telling you to get off the road and you got to take all of these tiny little roads. So what happens to me during these detours, I get extremely stressed out because Waze or Google Maps have not probably caught up with the detour yet. So you can't really listen to that. So you're just in the car hoping that, they keep up the detour signs, that, a lot of times I've been in detours where they forgot the detour sign and I'm totally lost. I have no idea where to go. All of these uncertainties and doubts are going through my head. What if I'm in a bad area? What if I get a flat? I mean, all of these things, right? And you're driving and then all of a sudden the construction worker says, okay, it's open, head back on the highway. And what happens? You get back on the highway and you just zoom, right? You're like rejuvenated. That is the breakout trade. So think of yourselves when you're in a detour. Do you want to be putting bets on yourself or on what is happening with the road? No, that is the breakout. That is that consolidating area. That is that sideways channel. All right. So understand that in layman's terms, so you guys really get it. And when you finally have that breakout, boom, it's that rejuvenation in the market. So this is what it looks like, right? Boom, it's that beautiful breakout. So breakout trades, I want to show you guys a little bit of how I go through my trades so that you understand how I use my two indicators. So here is a pretty strong resistance area. So like I mentioned earlier before, the MACDs really show me where there is massive strength, where there's massive movement in the market without that divergence and whatnot. So here we obviously have massive strength. Look at the difference, from here, from the dash line, which is 0 to going up. And what I do is I use my EMA lines for where I enter the market. I tell the market where I'm entering. I never just go in at market price. I always go in at a limit order. So as archers, I don't know if you guys have ever seen an archery competition. They're really cool to watch. But one thing I can tell you for sure is none of the archers are walking around randomly or aimlessly just shooting their arrows. They have a very specific place that they stand from to shoot that arrow. That is what we traders, we cannot just enter on a big candle. That's ridiculous, right? That's not a strategy. So for me, I use it when from my EMA lines, right? Once I have that breakout, once it does a mini retracement, because it's always like that. And also when it barely does any retracement on the MACDs, that's where I'm entering the market. Okay, so that's how I use all of these basics to truly understand. So I want to show you another bonus trade setup. I call this the initial reaction trade setup. So what does that mean? So here I have a pretty strong resistance area, uncertain what's going on, a lot of divergence, and then it finally breaks through on the opposite side. It changes direction. It has a trend change, right? So I don't know if you guys ever realize, but when there's a new trend, you want to get in as quickly as possible because that's when the strength of the trend really happens, right? It's in that transition, it's in that beginning. And that's where I want to be in the very first retracement back with a lot of strength in the MACDs. Boom, I'm in, and then I'm getting out really fast because that's the higher probability of entering and exiting the market. So again, guys, you could get all of this here. Go to makingofadaytrader.com where you can get your cheat sheet for your trading, makingofadaytrader.com. All right, so now what I want to do is I would like to go into the live market. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of break it down for you guys and how I view the market and what I do with the market. So as I mentioned before, I am an ES Mini trader. I trade the ES Mini futures. This is my chart. This is all I use. I only use this one particular chart. And as you can see here, I don't use a time frame because the volume indicator is really, really lagging. What I use is tick charts. I don't know if any of you guys use tick charts or have ever heard of them. They are not anything unusual. On the contrary, they are really common. But what I love the most about them is you can see here, ticks remaining. So I use a 610 tick chart. Each one of my bars is telling me that there is how many transactions are happening in real time. So 610 transactions per bar. That's what I look at, right? So I get to see it, what is happening, the amount of transactions in real time. I'm not sitting around, I'm not waiting to find out through a volume indicator because volatility is crucial. If you're sitting on a 5-minute chart and it's very slow, obviously you realize that it's slow, but you're not seeing what's happening in real time. And you want to be in real time as much as you possibly can. Okay, so that just wanted to show you guys what I use as far as my time frame, and that's tick charts. So I immediately mark off all of my areas to know exactly what's going on, right? Because I did have this transition area, this consolidation area, which finally broke out, totally transitioned, changed direction, and I am looking all over here for these trades because now I'm looking for the longs. Right here, we had a pretty strong resistance area pretty much most of the morning, right before lunchtime. And if you look here, it finally broke through, it changed direction, but it did not last for too long, right? It did have a nice downtrend, then it went to another transition, and now it's going straight back up. And as you can see, it's going up with a lot of force, a lot of strength, making all-time highs, which is really, really great to see, right? So we're even higher than yesterday. So what I do look at when I first enter the market is for these areas. And these areas are obviously resistance support, but it's not uncommon for a support area to turn into resistance because it's showing that at this price point, there is a lot of indecision. There's a lot of uncertainty, either because it's hitting a floor, or if it's hitting a ceiling. And when it actually goes from a support into resistance, we have to really pay attention to those areas a lot more. So here, because in the live market, I'm seeing it coming here, and I don't know what's going on because I don't want to enter it, even though I have all this strength looking here, because I don't know if it's going to hit it and just bounce off because it had that kind of strength here. So I use my resistance area here as a guidepost, as a measuring stick, right? And look what happened. Boom, it totally just blasted through it. So what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be looking for that breakout trade. But if I don't have this set up, I'm never going to be able to know when is it really happening. And boom, look at this gorgeous, oops, what did I just do? And look at this gorgeous breakout trade right there, because once I see this happening, my order waiting is waiting right there at the EMA area, right? So that's how I enter my trades. This is simple, basic strategy, understanding what the market is saying to you. If you don't know what you're looking at, if you don't know how to read the market, you're going to be missing quite a lot of really powerful trades, right? Here is another really strong, here is another really strong support area, right? And what happened here was we had a fake out breakout. What does that mean? It means if, well, basically it continued down, we broke down, but it didn't last, and it went back in to give us this particular channel. However, I would have gotten a really great opportunity right here, because the first trade for me, which I take off of my EMA, would have definitely worked out, because I only go for the short, quick moves. So I would have won here. And those trades are awesome, right? Watching out for them and truly understanding them could really change everything for you. Okay, guys, so let's go back into the presentation. Okay, so look, guys, we have everything that we need, right? I mean, we have everything we need. We've been watching the YouTube videos, we've been reading, we've been practicing on the charts. But the reality is, and this is something that when you're doing the market on your own, how do you know you're actually doing it right? How do you know you're getting it right? How do you know you're doing it right? Who's there to tell you and help you and guide you? So imagine if me and you could do this together every single week, to be doing this together for you to be able to understand, getting the feedback. I have a super special offer for participants only. Okay, so I want you guys to listen up, because this is a really, really rare offer, and it's only for the people who are live right now in the room with us today, which I am so grateful for you guys being here. Look, there are many pieces to put into place, and I'm going to share this with you really quickly because I do not have a lot of time. So please listen up. So if you haven't been listening, if you have Netflix in the background, or if you're checking your email, or if you're making a sandwich, just listen up for these couple of minutes to really, really hear everything that I have to say. This is a super special offer only for you guys. All right, so let me break it down for you. For anyone who is in the presentation right now, listening to my voice, you will get what I'm offering to you right now is a weekly live trade chat room that you get to participate with me weekly. It's going to be me live with you, implementing, taking live trades, chatting with you. There's no moderators. I do not work with moderators. It's me. We go over everything. We talk. You ask me questions. You could send me your charts. We go over everything in the live market. But the reality, the thing is, when you're doing stuff on your own, practicing on your own, when you're journaling, reviewing your stuff, how are you going to know if it's really working? So what I am offering right now, only to the people here, is unlimited one-on-one mentoring and coaching. You get to talk with me whenever you want, unlimited emails. We could do Zoom calls. You get to be with me coaching you. With the value of that is alone $5,000. And on top of that, I have a course that is broken down into bite-sized videos and lessons that you get to go over each part, like what we just did in this presentation together, but you really get into it with a lot of depth, bite-sized, and you get to email me, asking me and showing me if you're doing it right with me and the one-on-one feedback and coaching that I am offering. It is an unlimited curriculum access to all of this. Look, I have students from all over the world. This is not something that I'm just trying out for the first time. This is tested. So you do not need to be only in the US or only in Canada or Europe. Trading, the beauty of it is you could do it from anywhere in the world. And I have students from all over the world. And here are some of my students, and here's what they say about working with me. I wish I found Marina sooner. I was struggling for years with no progress. Everything starts to make sense when you go through her course and have her great support with her. This is a great course. I had zero experience in this area and found each step laid out so simply and succinctly, even for the non-techie, non-math, stay-at-home mom. I just wanted to let you know, Marina, that I'm thoroughly enjoying your classes. The lessons that have been super helpful for my own trading journey. The homework, the feedback is priceless. It's absolutely priceless. Thank you for all that time. So once again, total value of all that you're getting. Live trade chat room where we sit together. It's as if though I am sitting with you in the same room, in your living room, pretty much, chatting with you while we're in the live market, taking trades and really understanding what is going on. You have in between that unlimited one-on-one mentorship and coaching with me. You have complete access to me all the time and the unlimited curriculum access. All this is valued at $6,000. However, for special participants only, I have a special trial membership that you're going to start with only $24.99. You get full access to everything. $24.99 to get started. $24.99. You go right here, daytradingoffer.com. Daytradingoffer.com. This is where you can get everything right away. Oops, what just happened here? Daytradingoffer.com. Just go here and you will be able to be taken right away. Hang on a second here. You'll be going right here, daytradingoffer.com. Okay, everything there. You start with $24.99. You have full access to everything. But here's the thing, guys. This is really important. Here's the thing. I only have spots for 25 students. Why? Because of the one-on-one mentorship, I'm only able to take on 25 students at this time so that I have complete commitment to you guys. So I can completely commit and truly help you guys with it all. Okay, one-on-one mentorship, 25 new students. So again, special price, you get this trial membership, daytradingoffer.com. Go there right now. This is what it will look like, daytradingoffer.com. This is when you go there, this is the order form. So the first week trial is $24.99, and then after that, it's $49.99 per month. And again, you have full access to everything. You have me completely unlimited. I guarantee that I am so confident you're going to fall in love with this. All the benefits, the live trade chat rooms, the course, and the one-on-one membership with me. I mean, the mentorship with me. So after that, honestly, I've seen programs like this for $450 per month. I personally have paid one time $4,500 for a month for similar types of programs. So you start at $24.99, and then after that, it's $49.99 per month. After that, unlimited one-on-one. And remember, I only have space for 25 students because of my commitment to you guys. Okay, special price, $24.99. We get started right away. You have access to absolutely everything. Tradingoffer.com. Tradingoffer.com, and it's not $249. It's not $2,499. $24.99. All right, guys. So if you have any questions, this is the time for you to ask me, please. Anything that I could help you with, I would love to let you know. Any questions, and I'm here to help you guys. Thank you so very much for being here and for participating. Thank you. When do I start? The second you go through, just press pay and you're in. Daytradingoffer.com. Once you get that, you'll get an email with your login information and you get everything right there in your membership. Okay. So I personally focus on the ES Mini, Wendy. However, my courses and working with me one-on-one, I have lots of people that work with the NASDAQ, with different stocks. So it can be applied, but because I am personally using ES, I just show how it works there. However, you could send me all your different questions for your particular market, and we could work with that as well. That's part of the mentorship, right? So yeah, any other questions, guys? Let me know. Thank you, Wendy, and thanks, Sean. Thanks, everybody, again, for being here. I really appreciate it. And any more questions, let me know, and I look forward to working with you. Thanks.